there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey people, this is Nige Rockett from Onslaught, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a very huge privilege to have Nige Rockett, guitarist of Onslaught. The thrash metal band Onslaught will release their 8th studio album, Generation Antichrist, on August 7th via AFM Records. Also, check out the band's first single off the Generation Antichrist album, Religious Suicide. So you want to check that out. So, Nige, welcome to the show, man, and how you doing?
I'm good, John. And yourself?
I'm doing great, Glad to have you on here and talk about this bad boy that's going to come out on August the 7th, man.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Onslaught was formed in Bristol, England in 1983 by yourself and our bassist, Paul Hill. I know the band has taken a few breaks over the years. Looking back, though, how does it feel to be able to still put out an album, especially after all these years, and now during a freaking pandemic that we're going through?
Yeah, it's a strange time for sure. Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and we, as you said, we formed in 1983, and split again in 91, reforming back in 2005. So we've been back 15, 16 years now, which is a lot longer than the first time around, so which is very cool. Things have been going absolutely fantastic up until I guess March when the COVID hit and put a massive dent in the whole music industry across the world, I guess.
Yeah, you're right, man, because everybody was getting used to the digital era and doing things that way. The economy was booming, and now it's just like it's fucked. Everything is fucked now.
Yep, including touring, which is obviously a big problem for ourselves and every other band on the planet, unfortunately. We've decided to soldier on releasing the album. It took a lot of deliberation as to whether it was the right decision, because we've lost some massive festivals across the world in the summer coming up, which was obviously our big promotion for the album. But we kind of figured, lots of bands are delaying their releases for some reason, and we decided we'll make the positive that and go ahead, release new music when there is no music for people, Lamb of God and Testament are still putting their records out. So we obviously looked at that and thought there's reasons behind this. And we said if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And it may just give us that little opportunity to increase our fan base and get some attention from people who normally wouldn't tune into our music,
Now, this interview, guys and gals, is the day before the album release of Lamb of God, and I got to tell you, it's amazing. You have got to pick this album up. Oh, dude, it's good. It's so good.
Hey, I haven't heard all of it yet. I do love the band very much. I really like what they do. I consider them the kind of modern day thrash of where it should have been taken by newer bands. They've just they've encapsulated this whole different style of their own and made it their own. And yeah, I really appreciate what they do.
Was it crucial for this band to have their own identity and not sound the same as the band next door in the thrash metal scene? Because you know just as well as I do, some bands could just stay right on that same road and never venture out. But how crucial was it for Onslaught to be their own identity?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a bizarre thing. We were discussing within the band the other day that all the bands that kind of formed around the same time as us, or within the few years around that in the early to mid 80s, you can identify most of those bands, just by listening to them straight away. You'll have a track and you'll say, well, that's Anthrax or Slayer or Overkill, Creator, Onslaught, Destruction. They're all very definable immediately, which is kind of strange because we all play through pretty much the same amplifiers within reason, same pickups, guitars, but everybody has their own unique sound, which is kind of bizarre. Even though every Onslaught album sounds different, it's still identifiable as us, which is kind of cool. I mean, I find that only works within the thrash genre, I think, for some strange reason that I've never been able to figure.
You guys released the album In Search of Sanity in 1989. Then the band took a long hiatus. Then you guys formed again to release Killing Peace in 2007. Did you guys just need a break, Nige, or did you think it was over for Onslaught at that point?
Honestly, yeah, I thought it was over for me, particularly. We were really riding high, kind of 87, 88. And when we initially released the album, I mean, it should have been the best time, but we'd signed to a major label for the In Search of Sanity album, Polygram. And I think we made the wrong choice. We had a choice of maybe 3 labels to sign to at the time. And we made the wrong decision, basically. And it killed our career in a way. As much as the In Search of Sanity sold so many copies, the vibe of the band changed internally. We'd gone from kind of enjoying ourselves and having a lot of fun to being puppets for a massive corporate company, and we were like controlled from day one, and we'd lost all artistic control, everything basically, and that's why In Search of Sanity is what it is compared to the rest of our catalogue. For me, it's not an Onslaught album, a true Onslaught album. The songs are great, and we've re-recorded the actual title track when we recorded this album as well. So, and it sounds amazing, but it didn't sound great back then to me. As I think it kind of lost all the vibe and lost all the anger. It was very slick and polished, and it just didn't work for me personally. And it just tore things apart within the band. And we split in 91 when the grunge thing came along, and I thought I'd never play again. Fortunately, we changed that decision in 2005, but I didn't pick up a guitar for 10 years before that. So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
man.
It was painful.
I would say I couldn't imagine, man, having something that you love so much taken away, and just, that had to be a soul crusher. Jeez.
Yeah, we had a couple, and then I put together another band after Onslaught, which is how I met Jeff Williams, who's our bassist now. And that was flying. It was a kind of different thing. It was kind of like a Sex Pistols meets Metallica meets all sorts. It was just live, raw, punky, metally music. Lots of energy. And we were actually kind of dealing with Rod Smallwood, Maiden's management at the time, and things were looking really rosy. And there was talks of deals with Sony in Japan and signing to Sanctuary Records, which was Rod's label. And then 6 months down the line, it just went to shit. It fell apart for some reason, and we still don't know why. And so after that, after the disappointment of what ended with Onslaught, when we should have been hitting the sky, and then starting this next project, which should have been hitting the sky, and they both fell flat on their face, I was just completely disillusioned with music, and wanted to walk away, So the guitar went under the bed and stayed there for 10 years.
When Onslaught came back together, when did you know, this feels right now, this is our time to have some redemption on this?
It certainly was at the first rehearsal, that was for sure. Picking up a guitar after 10 years trying to play Shell Shock and In Search of Sanity wasn't great. It was like, what the fuck am I holding here? Like, it was like, what is this? But I guess it took around 6 months to get back it was kind of like learning all over again. And it took a long time, especially when you're retraining your muscles that you use to play guitar and stuff to do all that again to a really good standard was hard. But once we got there, it was like the fire started burning again. Then we played some of the first shows we played were some big festivals in Europe at Christmas time. It was fantastic. We were sort of straight back in at the high end of things, and it was like incredible. And I was like, wow, I'm so glad to be back, and let's put everything right that went wrong last time and move things forward. And we've done that ever since.
You see Nige on Facebook or out on the internet posting, Onslaught guitarist needs guitar lessons.
I certainly did at the time, man.
It's kind of like riding a bike, I would imagine. You just don't lose it. You take the rust off of you, and then you're fine. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Got there in the end.
Would you say this new album will be more heavier and intense than 2013's release of 6 than other previous releases?
Off the scale aggression, for sure. It's angry music for angry people. That's what I've been saying. It's we looked at the last 2 albums, Sounds of Violence and 6, and they were kind of, each one was a step up, more technical. Both very powerful records, I think, but they were very lots of tricky riffs and lots of changes. And when we were before we started writing this record, we discussed where we should go, and we decided let's take some steps back to maybe take some big steps forward. So we looked at our early influences of the band and the kind of things we were doing back then, and kind of brought those into the new era of Onslaught, this 2020. Strip back the productions, strip back the layers, cut the song titles, cut the song lengths down, kept everything concise, and just went for open, raw aggression on the record. And that's one of the reasons we asked Daniel Bergstrand to work with us, who's done all the mixing. And we just said, Daniel, can you give us one of the most aggressive sounding thrash records ever made? We want it open, raw, and just really in your face. And he said, yeah, guys, no problem. Let's do it. So that's what we did.
What's impressed or excited you the most, Nige, about making this new album, Generation Antichrist?
It's been the 7-year gap has been, we've been touring for a long time. We toured for 4.5 years after the 6th album. And I kind of forgot how much I liked writing music, because I can't do both. I can't be on tour and write at the same time. There's too many distractions, and when I write, I just like to lock myself away and just do it. And I really forgot how much I enjoyed writing music, especially on my own, because I've written a majority of this album on my own, and it was just I don't know, it was this self-fulfillment of doing something, and it really happened. There was a lot of pressure because I didn't have a writing partner like I did on the last 2 albums. So it was a lot of pressure for me, and that probably made it feel even better when the results came out. I'd send stuff out to the guys to get their feedback and get if they want to make any input, and it just worked so well, And the way the albums turned out, for me, it's one of our best albums. It just has everything that sort of encapsulates Onslaught. It's just so raw, so much energy, and so powerful.
Writing these songs by yourself, could we see more of this from you? Is this something that you like now, or no? Do you want to have somebody else to help you?
As I said, I really enjoyed it on this one, but I do like bouncing ideas off people, which is what we've done on the last 2 albums. This was forced on me out of choice this time, and I did enjoy it. But I think I want to go back to having a bit more input from the other guys next time around, which will happen, because we had the main guys who are in the band who can write music now. They kind of weren't embedded in the setup, so they weren't really. I guess it was same kind of thing with Gary with Slayer. You have to be in the band for a little while to find your feet where what's right for the band writing wise. As much as you know them from outside, once you come in, it's a bit of a different thing. But when it comes to the next album, I'd really like to work with the rest of the guys on a bit more level.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this new album? I know it must change every time you listen to it or you talk about it. I know these are your babies, man, but are there any that stick out for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first track we put out, Religious Suicide, the way we never put out our you never put out your strongest track first off, you know, kind of build things up slowly, hope people take the bait with the first track. But Religious Suicide is like really grabbed everybody's attention, and it's like gone way up in my feelings about the track as well. It's so concise, it's just to the point. There's no bullshit, and it just fucking hits the mark. So yeah, that's gone way up. But there's two other tracks in particular. We're releasing the next single on July 17th, I think, and a video to go with that full production video, which is a track called Bow Down to the Clowns, which is very full on, extremely heavy. Not quite so fast, but it's just full on brutal power, you know, with a very political kind of message as what's going on in the UK at the moment. So that track's really doing it for me at the moment in my daily listen. Any
tracks that didn't make this album that we could see down the line on an EP or possible another full length maybe?
No, we never work that way. There are, as I said, we recorded In Search of Sanity, and we also recorded a cover version of a Discharge song, which both will be aired at some point within the next several months coming. But no, we never, the way I work and the way I'm particularly this album's not particularly long. There's eight proper tracks on the album. And I think the album's 34 minutes long, 35 minutes long. So not particularly long in terms of an album standard. But the reason behind that is we didn't want to have any kind of disposable songs on the record. With the way things are in music these days, some people may listen to 1, 2, 3 tracks, and that's it. But I didn't want it to work that way. As I said, we look back, cut things down, strip things back, and hopefully people are going to listen to the album from start to finish, you know, and enjoy every track for what it's worth, because it's a kind of roller coaster ride. Each track takes you off in a different direction. So we're hoping that people are going to keep their interest and not do that by just singling out specific tracks, you know.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs which one would be the first single you guys wanted to release for the album, or was it hands down Religious Suicide? It
was my first choice, even though the lyrics are very contentious and what have you. But we've been banned from Facebook and YouTube for any kind of promotion on that track. So it's kind of limited what we could do, but it's absolutely flying. The streams are up near 500,000 streams. I think the video views for a lyric video are on 100,000 now. And this is no promotion whatsoever. They refused every promotion we tried, you know. So something's going right in the right direction. But we did leave that to the label to let them choose, because we did. I mean, we wanted that track, and they loved it as well. So they made the final decision to release Religious Suicide as the first single. So we were all on the same sheet. Maybe it was wrong, the fact that we couldn't promote it, but it's still flying. So I think it's all good. We've the next single's a little cleaner, so we can actually get some promotion on that and take things to another level.
Grammy Award-winning Daniel Bergstrand produced the album, who's worked with Behemoth, In Flames, and Meshuggah. How was working with him, man, and work with him? Does he get something out of you guys that maybe somebody else may not have?
Well, I didn't actually get to meet Daniel. This is the annoying thing. Because we recorded, obviously we spoke to Daniel at the beginning of the process. We done all the recordings separately because we were kind of getting into COVID time here. So we had to be very careful what we were doing. So we recorded everything. I recorded the guitars in one studio, the drums were recorded another, bass was recorded another, vocals were recorded another. Actually, during lockdown, the vocals were recorded. So it was it was getting very difficult because we really didn't want to miss this deadline. So my first intention was to be in the studio with Daniel in Sweden for the mixing, which obviously lockdown had come in March and mixing was due to start in middle of April. There was nowhere I could get out of the country. No flights were going out. So we were stuck. And we had an album to mix. So we basically mixed our album via email and text message, which is absolutely bizarre. So you can imagine the amount of time it took. And I can only thank Daniel for his extreme patience, because it was like, you can imagine being in the studio and me and him sat there and I said, Daniel, I need a little bit more high end on the guitar, please. And it's like, okay, that's 20 seconds. The process with me in England and him in Sweden was taking 2 hours for one change like that, because he'd have to upload the whole track, email it to me. I'd have to download, listen to it, make comments back. And I was like, oh man, just for the tiniest little things. Like, so he was absolutely amazing. He obviously understood the situation. But,
how crazy. Go ahead,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Absolutely insane. But we got the result, what we wanted, exactly what we wanted. But it did take a long time.
How crazy is it to go from back in the day from the 2-inch tape and reel to reel, cut here, cut there to
oh yeah, man.
and now to like emails and I can do that in 20 seconds, done.
just imagine if it was tape to tape in lockdown. Oh, no.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, hey Jace, do you gotta do another reel I can borrow? Fuck. What the hell?
Oh God, that just brings back dreadful memories.
Who did the awesome artwork for the album?
That was our bass player, Jeff. He
nice.
He does all the artwork for the band, except for the sixth album was done by a guy called Par Lawson. But since Killing Peace onwards, Jeff's done all the artwork all the time, everything we do. Absolutely fantastic. It's nice to be able to keep everything in house wherever possible, and the label let us do that, which is amazing. So yeah, I mean we have total control over everything we do. Really, it was just we just fancied a little change on the sixth album, and we put it out to Par, and he came back with the amazing sleeve that was, and absolutely fantastic. But yeah, Jeff's such a cool artist,
What do you hope, Nige, everyone takes away, or a message you hope they hear while listening to any of Onslaught's music in general?
I just like to think what a great band this is, and when they're in town, I'm going to go and watch them live, because that's where we're at. Live stage show is what Onslaught is all about. I was speaking to somebody earlier about they were saying, are you planning to do anything over the internet in the lockdown? And it's like, for a band like us, I don't think that would work, to be honest. Our shows are all about participating with the audience and stuff, and I just couldn't see it working for us at all. So
and could you, and I don't mean to knock anybody, I'm not trashing them or anything like that. I'm just saying, could you imagine a thrash metal band going 90 miles an hour on an acoustic guitar doing like a stream like that? I mean, I don't know.
I can see. I know a lot of people, if we were doing it, I'm sure they'd be diving off their sofas and diving over their sofas. I don't think it would work for me.
Oh man, what can fans expect at a show from Onslaught who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get when they come to see you?
Well, if you like the record, we're going to sound 10 times better than that. However good the record sounds, I will blow our own trumpet. We're a very good live band. We have a great drummer who really holds his shit together, and we fucking rock live, and we give it everything. And once the crowd starts going, it's just like back and forwards, man. I love it. I mean, that's all we're here for, to play live shows, travel around the world, and then meet all these great people and play some crazy shows, And yeah, that's what we're all about. And I guarantee you, anybody who comes will love the show.
And again, not knocking anybody, because I was going to mention this just a minute ago, but I just now remembered again. Just like Nige said, some bands are made for live music. Some bands are just made strictly to put an album out. You know, it's either or. Sometimes you can find that diamond in the rough where they're both good on album and live. And it's just the fact of the matter. That's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it takes. I mean, as I said, we pride ourselves on live shows. So we spend a lot of time in preparation for doing that. And the big plan, obviously, it's been really put on hold now, which is real fuck up shit with all these show cancelled. We were really bringing out a big show on the festivals over summer. So we've got to wait for that now. They've all been moved to 2021. We had some festivals, 2 festivals in the States and a lot of big ones in Europe. So we're lined up for them all again next year. So we just have to be patient. It's the same for every band out there. And we're rescheduling. We're trying to reschedule as much stuff as we can right now. So hopefully we'll have a good start as soon as the restrictions are lifted.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you, man, that said, yeah, that's what I want to do, or maybe even attempt it, if you can recall?
Yeah, that's easy, man. I was just such me and Paulie, you mentioned earlier, you formed a band. We were just such into our music when we were kids, like, you know. We used to travel all over the UK, watching Discharge, The Exploited, GBH, Motorhead and stuff like that. We travel, jump on a train, sleep rough, anywhere we could find, the guest passes into the shows. And we done that for about a year, 18 months. And it was like, man, what are we doing? We love this so much. Why haven't we formed our own band? Like, and there was one problem with that. That neither of us could play an instrument. So. but that didn't stop us, you know. We did actually go out and buy some instruments that we couldn't play. And I eventually got given some very basic lessons by a guy in a very well-known punk band called the Vice Squad. He lived very close to me, and he offered to come around and show me the basics on guitar, which he did. And we never looked back from then. I just put every breathing moment into playing guitar after I knew what I was doing, you know. And within a year, we were pretty close to getting signed, and everything just went crazy from there.
Since everybody is getting out of quarantine from the coronavirus, do you think concerts and festivals will have the same impact as before with sales and attendance? Or do you think this has hurt it in the long run after all this is over and we're finally able to get out and start doing some stuff?
Not with metal music, no, I don't think, because metal fans are just a different breed of person completely. They just live for music, you know. And I think as long as there's some kind of guarantee that things are safe, especially say if a vaccine appears by the end of the year, then you can guarantee next year's shows are going to be fucking insane. They're going to be oversold everywhere. I can guarantee that everybody is just going to be out in force and just supporting the scene again. I 100% confidence in that.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Onslaught gets support from, or your music even gets played in so far that you can tell here recently with the new singles getting ready to come out and all that stuff?
I can't quite answer the question about the new single because it's still a territory we're working on. But I think 2 years ago we went to China for 10 shows, and man, was that an eye-opener in every way possible. We actually played Wuhan, and we actually seen the markets where all this COVID allegedly started. We actually went there. But wow, never underestimate China. That's all I can say to any country in the world. Once you've seen it and traveled up and down that country, never underestimate what's going on there, because man, that is impressive. But the bizarre thing, the very first show we played there was a festival. It wasn't a metal festival. It was just a general music festival. So we actually shared the stage with the Backstreet Boys, which is kind of bizarre. So we hit the stage around 2:00 in the afternoon. We followed this Chinese lady pianist, classical pianist, big crowd out in front of her, and they're all throwing flowers onto the stage after she finishes the performance. And next up, come Onslaught. It was like, I've never seen anything like it, man. It was weird. The stage was lined because we had to blag our way into the country a little bit because they do vet your lyrics before you go. So we had to kind of falsify our lyrics a little bit and just to pass the system, you know. But the stage is lined at the front, the sides, with all these military and police all of a sudden.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And so, all right, okay, this is extremely weird. Onslaught, Backstreet Boys are on there, and we've got this crowd it was really hot, it was super hot, with umbrellas up, little parasols, you know, and it was like, wow. We started up, and the place just erupted. It was like, what's going on?
Oh, wow.
The soldiers, the police were like, everybody was like going mental. And it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, they all look so straight, but like, wow, what an introduction to China. Like, and then to top it all, the last show we played on the tour was on Mother's Day in China, which was like on a Sunday night, 10 a.m. We went to sound check at 10 a.m. on Sunday night, and there was nobody there. Literally nobody. The club was still like empty. And we were like, oh, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Should we pull the last show like this? And promoter's like, no, you can't do that. Like, so we sound check at 10 on a Sunday night, go back to the hotel, get ready and stuff. Obviously come back, hour and a half later, the streets are like tumbleweed everywhere. It's like, what are we doing? So we walk into this complex where this club is, open the door, and the place is just rammed with the most, I don't know, there are metalheads there, but not in the way we recognize them in US and Europe and stuff. So we go on stage, and there's like, it was even more incredible than the first show. Like we start playing the first song, and there's just bodies flying everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And there's just like all these girls at the front of the stage, just like making hearts at you and like screaming. It was like the fucking Beatles had arrived. Like it was hysteria, and it's like, what the fuck is going on, man? So it's like, yeah. So China was the weirdest place ever, I think. But it was an amazing tour. It really was, but so bizarre.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Onslaught's 8th studio album, Generation Antichrist, which will come out August 7th via AFM Records, and you want to check that out. And please pick up this album. So, Nige, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, tour dates and all this gets back together, man? How can he do that?
Facebook.com/OnslaughtUK.com or www.OnslaughtUK.com website. That's our best point of contact.
And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
I would love to, sir. Hey, people, this is Nige Rockett from Onslaught, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. You want to get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and all the links that we're associated with. And trust me, we're all over the platforms just about. Also, get out and pick up Onslaught's 8th studio album entitled Generation Antichrist on August 7th via AFM Records. You will not be disappointed. Nige, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Absolute pleasure, my friend.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.